So, hello there. Let's start the broadcast with fixing the issue on Magento 2. Let's see. So far, what I did, I took a look at the issue that was reported in Twitter by Alexander Menk, and I actually take a look at the way how it's working right now. So there is this log guarded cache loader class. This is something that they introduced in 2.3, at least in develop branch. It's called, there's a method called locked load data that keeps waiting for a released lock until the cached data gets available. It then tries to acquire a lock, then it looks through the data collector itself, and data collector is something where Magento tries to grab data from the actual file system by combining all the configuration files, and it saves data into cache, then it retrieves the cached data. Actually, yeah, the cache data is assigned for this one. It's already a little bit missing one step, I think, in my opinion, related to the post-processing, but we'll come back to this one later. Then Magento does unlock the caching functionality in case if there is something happens. It still goes through this finally statement. And let's see what else we have here. We have here cached data equals false. Okay, so if the cache data is not retrieved, it still invokes data loader and it actually waits for some time before invoking this one. So yeah, looks a little bit interesting. Looks like they tried to extract data, the cache data from cache storage. However, it's interesting to know actually what is the actual behavior if, let's say, the cache is disabled. That one would be interesting to take a look at. Looks like this code is just broken if the cache is disabled. Okay, and here actually I just created a simple method. It's not doing yet anything, it's just for my future tests. So the problem, what I found out here is that we have a Locker being passed as a dependency, and there's no Locker implementation that would allow me to really nicely test it without really binding the code to the mocked method calls. So what I did, I actually created a new class in Magento core. I created a new class called InMemoryLock. This InMemoryLock realizes the lock manager. They just does everything internally in one class, in one property. So I wrote some tests for it already. I didn't yet implement the last one. I think we can run and see. Yeah. So the failed setting that false is true. This one is related to returning true when we actually unlock a lock. So it's a little bit strange to have here something like this. But let's see what we can do. So here we have this unlock method that I've implemented. As you see, I just returned false here. Then there is my test, so it waits for true. So let's just quickly make this test pass. Let's just return instead of false. Let's just return true. Right? Let's see. Yeah, now my test passes. Let's run other tests. They also pass. Let me set up after run, so I don't need to do it every time. So now what I want to do, I want to do the last test in this class that I'm going to implement is actually that it also tells me if let's say the record was not locked, it should actually return me false. So reports that lock was not unlocked when no lock was available, let's say like this. Okay, so then lock manager, then we log some record, let's say log 3, and then what we will do here this log manager, then unlock this log 3, and then we'll do a third call, and this third call is gonna actually unlock the record. So I'm asserting false that this log manager unlock log 3. So this one actually should return me false. So you see, now the logic is not working at the moment because I didn't yet implement it. So that's the benefits of test-driven development. So what I can do here, I can just store here a variable was locked, and it's just gonna be something like this is locked name. I think it's enough, and then I can just return this variable. Yeah, now it's green. So okay, this test passing. So let's take a look further on. I hope you guys hear me pretty well. Let's go to the next step. Let me just drink a little bit of coffee. Okay, nice espresso. Now let's go further on. What did I want to do with this log class? Yeah, actually, I wanted to test the Magento implementation itself of the caching locker that they use. So this one, you see there's this log guarded cache loader. Here I was trying to find yeah, this one actually I'm not gonna use anymore because I moved the implementation into other location, and this one is the test case which I'm gonna write for the standard Magento class because it's actually not covered with any tests. That looks a little bit strange for me because it would be nice to make sure that it's working, doesn't have any unexpected behaviors. It would be nice to cover it with a good test, but it seems like it's never been covered with tests. So what I will have as a dependencies in this test, first of all, of course, I will have this log manager that I have developed. Okay, now this is going to be our in-memory log, and of course we're going to have this log guard class instance. Log guarded, I think it's cache loader, yes. Okay, now I'm gonna go and write the setup for test case. So this log manager is gonna be new in memory log, and this log guard and new log guard cache loader. It receives as an argument this log manager that we have, right? And it also has some lock timeout and delay timeout. Okay, looks like a reasonable thing actually to put some values over there. So I'll put here just 10, maybe 1,000. I don't remember exactly how much it was there. Okay, it's multiplied by 1,000. The delay timeout and log timeout is actually divided by 1,000. Actually, it looks a little bit strange because, yeah, why not to specify them both in seconds? Because they both are actually, one of them is milliseconds and another one is seconds. So a little bit. Oh, it's actually probably also milliseconds, but yeah, looks a little bit strange to have this division. Okay, never mind my frustration with this one, but yeah, I'll just increase it to 1000. Our lock manager doesn't support any timeouts, but just specify some value lower than original one, and the lock weight, I think I'll specify 5, just to make sure that the test that I'm writing is not gonna be um, slow. So let's see. We have here already some test case. Uh, it tells us that the block loader blocks execution. Okay. So what we have here is actually we're gonna call this lock guard with this locked load data method. This is something that's available in Magento. Here then we'll have the lock name. The lock name will be, let's say, lock1. It doesn't matter what it is. Then we have the data loader. So this is a method that actually loads the data from cache. All right. So this method from cache, let's say, it returns false. All right. Then what we have? Then we have our data collector. The data collector is returning, let's say, us some data from the cache. So let's say 1, 2, 3. And then the third one is actually returning this data into the cache storage. So let's say this is what this method name, it's called data saver. So yes, so it saves the data, and let's see, it returns us, I don't know what it returns. I think it doesn't return anything. It should just store the data. So this is something how I understand it works, but I'm not sure it works as I understand it. So I'm gonna write a test to validate. So I expect that this data collector will actually return me a data when, let's say, data is not cached. So let's say this method should return us false when data is not cached, and this one should store the data to the cache, and yeah, this one is actually gonna just return us some uncached data. Yeah, let's actually put it like this. So let's make it uncached, and here we're gonna have a storage, right? So what we have here, we have some result, right, of this method. So what I expect, I don't do anything with cache storage. I just want to return uncached data right back to the end user. So let's see what will happen. So this assert equals, and I expect to receive this uncached value, and I will pass here in a test a result. Let's see how it works. Let's run this test case. Oh, perfect. It actually works as I actually expected to work. So let's see. It returns us back this uncached data. Yeah, not bad. So this one we know works. Actually, what I will rename it returns, yeah, locked load data returns uncached data, right? I can actually leave this one out. So let's see. Oh, why it's good and oh yeah, because somehow I put a UTF character over there. So okay, looks like a good guess. Then what we will do next, we will write another test. Another test will check that it waits for cache being unlocked before reading, before actually storing data. Right. So what we will do here, here we'll just copy this one over, and now in this case we're actually gonna take our log manager and we're gonna lock this log one, and here let's say we don't have anything, so I think this one will never end if I try to run it right now. So let's see, uncached and then result, right? Yeah, so here's one of the problems with implementation as we see it right now. It's actually never gonna end until the lock is released from another process. So it makes sense actually to kill my test because it will just burn my CPU cycles. So this is actually what I expected is a problem, and this is kind of racing conditions that exists over there. So let's see how can we test it. Okay, so it does it like this. So it takes the cache data. If the cache data equals false and something is locked, it actually waits until the data loader, so this one, returns some data that is not equal to false. Okay, it's actually interesting implementation because, yeah, it means that we never get out of this loop if the lock, if there's actually a deadlock. So yeah, it's definitely a huge problem on high loaded systems, right? So let's see here what we have further on. We have log timeout here, and yeah, it tries to log here a record, and if it logs a record, what it does, it collects the data and it sets a cache data as data. Okay, and then if let's say this cache data set is data, then it just returns it back. It returns it back to the loader. So yeah, here is actually, I saw where this code is used, and for me it looks like it already contains a bug. So if we take a look at the usage here in system PHP of this log data method, we can take a look at the load all data method. This is the one that is used to load all the configuration from cache. And here is also load default scope data. And what we can see here, the caching keys for this data, there is actually different, like one is for config type, another is for config that type and scope type. And here we can see that, yeah, hi there. I hope the stream has everything is good. So we are back, I think, on track. Sorry for the hiccup with the stream itself. Let's see. So here, what I was trying to find out. So what we see here is that the method load action contains already some logic that is not part of the read data, because the read data is the same for all methods, like load all data, load default scope data, or let's say just load scope data. You see there's a lot of business logic here, and it looks a little bit buggy, because if something is not in cache, I receive completely different results than I expect from this load default scope data method. So we're gonna go back into the actual fix of this one later on, because yeah, you can see actually it here. We can see that for the default scope, they store this data default method, um, data default value. And let's say for the website scopes, they also store this separate items. Yeah, current scope data. Yeah, scopes. What's the scope? Yeah, we see it, right? We see it here. It's a little bit not correct in my opinion, but we'll see it when we will run some tests. Let's see how we actually can test this class later. So here we have this called get with parts, right? This one has a read data method. Okay, and then it walks through all this cache functionality. Also, what do we have here as well? Yeah, it has too much dependencies to actually test. I hope it's tested somewhere in Magento code. It's what is the class of this one is system. Let's see in tests config. Oh, there is no test. Yeah, there is no test for system. Let's see. Let's see where it's used. Oh, it actually has a test. Let's see. Let's see what it does. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Sorry, guys and girls. Let's see this system.php. It's used. It's used everywhere in the system. Let's see on a system test. Oh, okay. So it's a little bit funny in my opinion. Like, yeah, it has a test case here. Let's see what it does. Is it a unit test or just an integration test? Okay, it's part of integration test suite. Okay, we will run it later, I think. Yeah, so here we have this one. Okay, so this one is working. Let's go back into our log guaranteed method. As we remember, I was trying to test it, right? I was trying to test it with log guarded cache loader. I was trying to test it waits for cache being unlocked. So what I can do here, I can actually create a new variable to make it a little bit simpler. We will call it a load sequence. It's just going to be an array of callables. And what I will do with this array of callables, I will actually do like this, I think. You see this function here. So what I will do, I will just use array shift from this call sequence. and I will actually perform just a call on top of it. And here I will just create this call sequence function. So on the first call, we're gonna just do some locking. So we actually lock a record called lock1. Then this call sequence, the second one, is going to be doing some unlocking operation of lock1, and I think this call sequence function, let's say the third one, will actually return. Actually, we will return in all of them. We will return false. And in this one, we will return cached. So it's going to be our test for retrieving the cache data. So we will return back this call sequence one by one. And now we're gonna expect that it should equal to cache, right? So let's hope this one actually works. Okay, what it tells me actually that the expected result is cached, but it actually returns back for me an uncached version. Okay, and why? Why it's happening? Oh yeah, I know why it's happening. It's because of my faulty test. So this one is actually a different one. So here, the second call sequence should be returning already value because it expects that it's already accessed from this cache storage here. So now, before loading data. So this is a standard behavior of this function. Looks like simple enough. Okay, here then what we will take a look as well is that it actually maybe stores something to the cache, right? So let's see into the logic. What else we have here? We also have here something like it does a thing like it tries to access. It actually works in a loop where it iterates while cache data equals false. It tries to acquire lock. If lock is not acquired, okay, it just skips this loop, so it goes in the next stage. So it waits till the lock gets acquired before it actually can do something with it. This is actually going to be much more harder to test because I think I don't have any control over here. Oh, actually, I have some control here. It's actually invokes data loader. Okay, so it's gonna be also very nice test to write. But you know, like it's still not fixing the core issue. It's still actually testing that the core behavior works as it works. Then what we do next, we can just, I think, we can just grab some name for this test. So it waits for cache being unlocked before loading the data. Okay, this is clear. It waits for lock release before loading uncached data. So this one looks more or less correct in my opinion from point of view of description. So here we have uncached, and what we expect in this test case it's that it will return us uncached, and it will return us uncached because we just gonna go through the full cycle, and then we actually want to make sure that the data gets stored for us. So let's see what we have here. Okay, we have here return uncached. Yeah, so this is our uncached data. And then here is our save function. So ideally, this save function needs to receive some data. And before loading uncached data, yeah, actually, in this case, we don't test this function at all. We just test that it's returned as uncached one. And here actually we return false. So on all calls to this method, load data, on all calls over there, it still cannot retrieve access from cached storage, so it needs to return us back the uncached value. Okay, so this test passes, so this is actually verified core behavior. Okay, let's copy over this test one more time. And now I'm gonna do another test, stores data we are save handle. I'll say blocking lock strategy stores data via save handle, right? Okay, fine. Strategy stores data via save handle. Okay, this one is here. Let's go on with this one. Looking log strategy stores data via save handle. Okay, this one actually I didn't yet validate. So I will put here also actually uncached, but I will call it saved. And here I will validate save cache data, let's say like this. So this is something that we are gonna validate as a property stored in this method. So here we expect that there is some data comes in, and here we're gonna set this cached data as a property. This is something that is returned uncached, so I will change it actually to match our expectation. So this is the data that has to be passed here as a data argument. And let me add actually a field here just to make sure that we have it here in the cache data variable. So let's run test. Blocking log strategy stores data via save. Okay, so this is actually the core behavior. Okay, we don't validate results, so we can remove this one. Yeah, the test looks correct in my opinion. All right. Okay, let's go on. Let's see, what do we have here? I think all these behaviors are tested. Why load sequence? Oh, okay. I actually messed up a little bit. I was supposed to be calling this variable here in test, but because all our tests green, I can just simply refactor my tests to reflect this change. Let's see what we have here. Okay, the tests are passing, right? So nothing is broken. It's very good. So what I can do now, I can actually get rid of this kind of assignment, in my opinion. So what I can do, I can actually extract this one as a load operation, and then I can move this one into a private method. Oh, okay, it doesn't show us this windows. Oh, where it gone? Where it's gone? Come on, PHP Storm, don't play with me. Where is the window? Let me see. Okay, extract method. Where is it? Where this method extraction functionality is? Okay, cancel. Let's open it up again. Oh yeah, it's terrible, terrible PHP Storm if it's open up in window mode. I cannot actually even minimize the window size. Okay, so let me extract it now. Okay, so here's my extraction window. Private, yeah, it should be a private method. I will call it add load sequence, and not sure it should be a closure, but yeah, we will change it later. And I also gonna inline it now, and I can do the same with this method as well, right? And here, yeah, I can do it also nice like this. So at least this one gonna work like this. Okay, and here I'm gonna change it to callable, and I'm gonna rename this variable to load operation. Okay, let's run my tests. Okay, they're still passing, so everything is working here. Here I'm also gonna do add load sequence. It's boring refactoring, but this is good for making sure it's better to read, and then I don't have dependency there on the way how I implemented this variable. Okay, so add load sequence, and then we also will remove something here as well. I want to have this one as just a function that's gonna be extracted as a method called load from storage. Let's call it like this. Yes, replace it everywhere. Yes, yes, replace. Okay, so this is good. So it will turn me back this callable again. Okay, so looks like a good thing as well. Probably this test can be improved as well. Or no, actually, let's keep it like this. So it's directly linked to our test. Yeah, the rest of the thing seems like good. Okay, I'll probably here we are just gonna replace it with some private method. We'll call it return value. Or read value, something like this. Yeah, so it will be in style of Magento with value handle name. So it's also will be callable. The only thing that this one is going to receive as an argument a value, and here we will pass it over here like this value. Okay, I'm going to remove this one. Okay, the value is going to be uncached saved. Okay, now our test looks better, and here as well we're going to replace this with value uncached. Right, and here it's also should be this return value uncached. So now the tests are simpler and simpler. What we can also improve here, let's say we can make this method and call it do nothing. Yes, replace everywhere. Yes, replace, do nothing. So the reader will just read what matters and probably will understand the test better. So this one looks better for me. Oh, I didn't replace load sequence here. So let's do it here as well. Add load sequence. And another one is add load sequence. So let's see. Okay, the tests still pass. So looks like always working well. Also, I don't like this closure because we have callables since PHP 5.6. So why not use them as a return type in PHP 7, right? Okay, looks like a good way to go. However, I don't remember what is the minimum version requirement for Magento 2.3 for PHP. It's 7.1. Do return types available already in 7.1? Is callable available as a return type? Let's look it up quickly. Callable return type PHP. Which version is available in? Because if I will introduce something that is not in constraints, callable as a return type, not as an argument. Return int. Void type. Okay, let's see this one. Okay, so it's since 7.1, so I can safely use it. 7.1 already allows me to specify those kind of types. Okay, seems like a good option. Seems like a very good option to use this one. Okay, is locked, works well. This one I will close, this one I will close as well. So now it's time to implement finally this method. However, after some tests for this walk guarded cache loader test, I think we have to change it a little bit. I don't like the idea of data processor anymore, because before I was thinking about that I will put all the additional logic into data processor, but I think we can just use this data saver method, actually data saver callable, to realize our functionality. We don't need to add any additional arguments. Okay, so this is the standard functionalities that Magento has, and this is something that we will add to Magento, because you see here there is some locking happening, and then use sleeps that actually block all the process until the lock is released. That is not good because we already saw that we can run a test that will constantly run an infinite loop that will never end on a process. So it's very easy to, I think, write a malicious extension that will just break all Magento by just locking a configuration cache and never releasing it. Okay, so what we have to do here. So here we have non-blocking locked load data. Okay, so for now we know that the standard Magento one is actually getting locked. So what we will do here, we will write at least some kind of notation that it's related to the blocking loader. Loader returns uncached data when nothing is retrieved from cache, right? Then we have another one also related to the blocking loader. So we will put it here, blocking loader waits for cache being unlocked before loading data. Look like a good test name. Here as well, blocking loader also waits for lock release before loading uncached data. And here's, I forgot to specify loader. Blocking loader stores data via safe handle. Yeah, so this is actually everything related to the standard implementation. We didn't change any line over there. We just added tests to understand what is the behavior. So looks like now we can start writing tests for our loader. So let's put it like non-blocking loader. Let's implement the same one. Returns uncached data when nothing is retrieved from cache, right? So let's just make sure that we implement the same behavior as a standard loader. So what it does, it has this locked load data. Call, okay, so it returns just false. Yeah, let's actually do the same. We'll just change the method name. And wait, what happened? Oh, yeah, non-blocking loader returns uncached data when nothing is retrieved from cache. This one is still passing because I didn't change it to my method name. So let's call it non-blocking. Yeah, we see that nothing is returned, nothing is done because this method is actually empty. And in the good practices of TDD, we just fake it till we make it. So we just invoke this data collector. Why it's, oh yeah, it's undefined because I actually undefined it. Okay, here it is. Okay, so now our test is green. So this behavior is working, right? Then blocking loader waits for lock release before loading the data. Okay. For us, now the second test is actually gonna do different thing. So non-blocking loader returns cached data when it is available. Returns cached data even if it is locked. Let's say like this. Okay. Then here we will add return of the cached data, and before we'll just do the lock manager lock one, Okay. And I didn't change my expectations, so it should return cached. Yeah, so now it's failing. The test is failing, it's a good sign. It means that I can go on and implement functionality. So non-blocking loader. Here I just need to invoke the data loader. So this is the data. We'll call it also cached data, right? And now, yeah, I'll just do this one. I'll just invoke the check if, let's say, cached data not equals to false. We'll just return back this cached data without doing anything, right? Okay, so now our test is green, and that's looks like a good progress. And then the next one is testing another thing, right? Let's see further on. Let's do some non-blocking load or trans. Oh yeah, I need to change actually the test name. just now. Do you hear me? Seems like something went, like my AirPods went out of charge and I didn't notice because I don't have anything playing in my ears. Sorry very much for this kind of thing. Okay, let's see if I can actually do something. Okay, so here we have the debugging working. So it actually walks through stuff. Okay, let's step in. So it tries to load data. And what happens there? The data gets not loaded probably, right? What's happening? So it's never, okay, finally it's got here. Okay, it's a good sign. Then what is the result of this one? Okay, it's gonna read through, read through, read through. Okay, let's go. Let's go here and here. So let's see. What is the data? So the data is, in my opinion, correct. So it's cached data, it's default, then it's websites, stores. So it looks like a complete data array. Okay. Oh yeah, definitely. You remember I've changed the way how the data saver is actually working. So I didn't fix that one yet. Yeah. So the data saver, as you remember, I was expecting it would return me a complete final value. So let's see. How can I fix it easily? How can I fix it easily and return the right value in my opinion? Okay. So I just need to replace it to something like this. Then, right, I need to replace it to a closure that invokes this. So it receives the data as an argument. It caches this data and then it returns back this data. So now when something is happening, right, it should just return something back like this. Let's see where else this one is invoked. So here it's as well. And here it's all working as well in my opinion, right? Stop and rerun. Let's see if it's gonna work. I hope Magento tests are gonna become green. So if it's gonna work, it's gonna be awesome. Yeah, look, the test is green. The integration test of Magento 2 is green. Yeah,
the functionality that I've built is actually working with Magento 2. Okay, now just to make sure that I don't break anything else, I just wanna make sure that it runs a complete cycle with enabled test cleanup. So the enabled test cleanup must work as well. So now when I run it from the command line, Magento will drop the database, we create the database, read all the configurations, and let's hope it's gonna work. So I actually replicate completely the core behavior, because if it's uncached, it actually returns the data without any manipulations. So let's see. Let's see. It takes some time. That's why I like more of is not an array. Wow, that's interesting. 195, 195%. 195. Okay. Yeah, here we go. Here is the error. Error in Magento core. The error is related to this one. So here, for instance, as far as I remember, there was this one here. So this is a default scope, and load default scope data. It's gonna be a scope type. What is a scope type? The scope type in this case, okay, the scope type is actually default. And how it's actually saved, let's see. It's saved like this. Okay, and what kind of data? It returns something like this. Okay, how about these ones? So then it saves something for each scope ID. So current scope ID and then current scope data. Okay, and then it saves it for every scope as well. So this is a different one. What's important for me is this one. So here, actually what we will do, we will return a value, right? So here we have, no, not the scope data, but the data like load default scope data, right? This one. This one is not working. So here we will use scope data. All right. Or scope type. And here we're just gonna specify scope type. Otherwise, we just return an empty array, because it's what's the behavior here during saving. I'm not planning to refactor this cache data method. it looks a little bit dangerous to refactor. I'm not feeling confident, so I'm just gonna make sure that the get test is working well. Let's see. Please work. Work, Magento, work. Let's pass the test. Oh, actually, before that, it's pass test? What? Did I run it already? Before? Oh, yeah, I see when it's didn't pass the test, yeah. Okay, what we have here? Here we have actually the same thing. For scope data, we have the same implementation. The only difference that there is also, apart from the scope type, there is also the scope ID, right? So there's scope ID, scope type, then scope ID. So okay, it looks like a plan, right? So here I can just specify use scope type and uses scope ID. A bit of cold, sorry guys, from my runny nose. Let's see. Let's see if it's working. Okay, so test case is passing. Let's see if this one changes anything. And here we also will add a scope type and also scope ID. And I will remove this test cleanup because I already validated that it actually works with the complete setup from scratch. So I just want to run a test. Okay, it works. Let's see. First of all, what I see as a problem probably is that, yeah, it doesn't test other functionalities. So let's add another test. Test get value parts, maybe. I don't know where it's actually invokes those load scope data and other stuff. I just want to test that it works. Web test value, okay. So I also want to test this one, get with, okay, so here it is. Get with parts, it's actually probably already working, okay, but what then I didn't test? Load all data, load default scope data, where it's involved. It's involved in, okay, so it's involved here in get with parts, okay, so it explodes it. So actually this one actually already covers the test case. So store default, website base, default test. Yeah, so this is already working. I think in my opinion it's working, so let's call it a day then. So seems like everything is working. The only thing I don't like that tests exist, but this is not the point of this fix that I'm doing. I'm not gonna refactor the code that I see. over there because it's responsibility of the core team. I just want to introduce something that I changed as a behavior. Okay, so let's go back to the main directory, I think. Get status. Let's see, what did I change? So I added a new test case lock guarded cache loader test. I added a new test case, new actually functionality with in-memory lock, and then I have in-memory lock test, of course, for this one that I have added. Let's do some nice thing, and let's keep our classes documented as well, apart from being just added over there. So let's see, let's go on and let's do stuff. Let's do stuff with change here. I just changed the method that is invoked, and I changed a little bit how the data is processed. I did add a test. I did add here a new method. Loads cache data in non-blocking way. Yeah, I think it's not enough as explanation. Here I already added a comment that it loads cache data by blocking till lock is released, so it's quite a good explanation. Here I just wanna explain that it loads cache data in a non-blocking way. When data is not cached, it will try to grab a lock. If lock is not obtainable, it just returns back uncached data. So what would I call it? So let's say implementation does connection is not going into cyclic deadlock. If lock is not obtainable, it just returns back uncached data, so connection is not going into cyclic deadlock. Okay, seems like a good explanation. Implementation, in my opinion, looks very simple. Let's compare it. Oh, I cannot reduce it. So here we have a lot of while loops. And here we have just simple loader. If it's not available, it goes further on and grabs uncached data, then it tries to obtain a lock. Oh, actually, I see already a problem here. I don't know if you guys spotted it, girls, but yeah, I think it makes sense to fix it. Yeah, here I see it. I need to fix my implementation. I need to add another test case. I see a problem there. I see a problem. Would be embarrassing to release it and everyone would say, hey, why lock is not released? I cannot do anything, and so on. So we need actually to release a framework, a lock from locking mode. So let's go into config. Where is it actually? Where is it located? Oh, here it is. Okay, so let's go into the test unit. This log guard cache load cached loader, cache locked loader. So here is non-blocking loader, stores data and passes through. Yeah, this is clear. Then what we have is non-blocking loader stores data and passes through result from safe handle. And no, this is not the test we're gonna explain. We're gonna explain that releases a lock after cache has been saved. So this is something that I didn't implement, I think. Yeah, so it should save it. I don't assert anything here except that the lock is released. So what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna just check if this lock number 1 is actually locked. So I'm gonna assert that it's false. This is the whole reason why actually we have this locker being developed. No, no. I don't want to run integration tests. No, please. Oh my goodness. Okay. Can I run this one as well separately? Filter. Yeah, so it's very good. I like it that I can run it separately too. Okay, so it's not locked. So let's make it like this. Cache data equals this one. And then we are gonna do locker unlock this lock name, right? Releases lock after cache has been saved. Okay. Let's actually also add another test. What if something happens when we save the data? Let's say if there's some error happens. We also need to release a lock, right? Let's just throw here an error. Releases lock when error happens, right? So throw error. Let's say just an exception, maybe. Yeah, just regular exception. New something went wrong, right? And here also I wanna wrap it into try catch, so it still will execute. Exception like this. Here we just do throw some error and we assert that something is actually releasing a lock. Okay, the lock is not released because I don't put the same thing as Magento has there. So Magento does it like this. Magento does try, then they do something like this, and then they do finally. So no matter what, they actually release a lock. So I'm doing the same now in this implementation. So it looks like now it's more silent. Okay. And you know what? I forgot to add the prefix for non-blocking loader. So non-blocking loader releases this one, and non-blocking loader releases this lock when error happens. So now we have complete the same completely behavior as Magento implementation for cyclic locking, but this one doesn't do any blocking, waiting for a lock being released. It just lets customers who cannot access a cached entry just to silently receive an uncached data. So we kind of load data from the file system, but it's better than just running into the deadlock. And it's only going to happen within millisecond. So it's very rare situation that something will collide with each other. However, if we just wait for log being released, there's more chances of someone else actually starting the write process. So this one is going to be much more better for all the customers out there. Yeah, and let's do the last thing. Let me check, did I disable this one? Yeah, test cleanup is disabled. Let me run one more time dev tests integration, just to make sure everything still works correctly, and still we have everything working over there. Okay, let's see. Come on, let the test become green. Let's have a green test. It's so nice to receive a green test result. I don't like how long it runs integration tests. Actually, it's a very simple test. Why it requires to run it for a minute before actually go into the code you're trying to test. Okay. So the test is green. So looks like I can just submit a pull request now. Get that. Okay. I'm just gonna go into the root directory. Okay, we did add with the terminal. Magento framework, let's see. So all the files are there. Commands are added on top of the files. Right, here is everything is added. Magento receives their very nice waiver of the license. Everything is good with the file, in my opinion. Concurrent access to cache. I don't know if it's needed to be in mutex. Okay, let's see else. What is here? This one is changed, and also this new class I've created as well for the in-memory locker itself. Where is it? Here is, oh, okay. Here's some junk. Memory lock, okay. Implementation of in-memory locking mechanism were useful for testing, right? Because this is the reason why we have a memory lock implementation, just to make sure that we can properly test it without running MySQL, Redis, whatever, in order to test this small piece of functionality with lock guarded cache loader. Like, it's a real implementation of Locker. However, it doesn't require any additional dependencies. It's self-contained, so I really like it to be used in a test. Okay, and its status. Let's see. And also, did I add a command for test case? Let's go into the test case. Yeah, test for simple in-memory backend for lock manager. Okay, looks good. Its status. Okay, and status. Okay. Fix performance issue in locking cache loader by implementing non-blocking cache. Loader, okay. Oh yeah. Need to specify it like this. Okay. And let's see if I can submit a pull request now. Okay. And description is required. Yeah, I don't think there's any Magento issue out there. Manual testing scenarios. In Magento cache. Visit backend and validate. Nothing is broken. Yeah, very interesting manual testing scenario. Okay. Please provide a description of the changes proposed in this pull request. This change replaces locking strategy for resolving race condition and race is strategy for resolving race condition in configuration cache. Cache loader, right? Originally it was waiting for a list lock until data has been available, right? But it's still produced. No. Okay, I will describe it later. Don't have a lot of things left. Yeah, to describe. Okay. Okay, I'll call it end of the stream. I will submit it separately as soon as I end the stream and do some stuff at home. Okay, I hope everyone had a very nice Saturday stream experience. Bye bye.